Welcome to Talk of the Town. We've got a great show for you today. We've got some fitness tips for kids, plus an interview with country star Rick Monroe, among others. But first, we're going to be talking about beer. And I'm joined now by Dan Calise, who is the owner, or the CEO, I should say, of Eddie's Ale House and Eatery in Sun Prairie. Welcome to the program, Dan.
Well, thank you.
Good to have you here. So talk to us a little bit. When did you open?
We opened in August of 2008. Kind of right in the middle of the Depression era. But
right. Yeah, and it's been going pretty well for you since
It has. It really has.
Awesome. And what, we were talking a little bit before the show started, and you have a very interesting building. It's an old building. Tell us, what is the most distinguishing feature about this building? How do people recognize it?
I would say the most distinguishing feature of the building is, as we were remodeling, we tore out a drop ceiling and found this beautiful hand-pressed tin ceiling, and it's really a wow factor for our building.
Really kind of increases that, not curb appeal, but once you get inside, it looks like something that is attractive for people to...
It does. It's a 12-foot high ceiling, so it's
very cool.
It's really pretty cool.
It's so hard to find those treasures in modern buildings. You know, you pull something away in an old building and you just never know what you're going to find. Sometimes it's something really cool like that.
Right. It really is.
Yeah, very cool. So now, obviously, you're here because you believe that there's something that sets you apart from other pubs in the area. Can you talk to us a little bit about what that is?
I would say we have two really distinguishing features. One is we offer about 150 varieties of beers. They're all microbrews brewed here in the U.S. The other distinguishing feature that we have is we serve fresh, hand-pattied, everyday burgers, which is pretty popular as well.
So they're not like frozen discs that you pull out of the freezer and then stick on the grill?
No, it's always fresh.
Very good, very good, yeah. So you mentioned that you have over 150 selections of beer. I have to imagine that there's obviously way more than 150 selection of beers out there. I mean, that's a huge selection as it is, but I imagine that you get people all the time saying, hey, you gotta carry this, you gotta sell this. How do you decide what to carry in your store and what to pass on?
That's one of the hardest parts of the job, although it's some people probably think it's the best part of the job. A lot of people bring me samples.
Right.
So I do taste a lot of different beers. I don't drink them all, obviously, but I do taste a lot of different beers. My main philosophy is to try and have a lot of different styles of beer. You have ales and you have lagers and stouts.
Sure.
So we try to keep a good variety.
Good variety is important, yeah, because everybody has kind of their own taste. Some people like the hoppier taste, and some people not so much. So yeah, it's good to have that. Good to have that variety for sure. Well, now, so we talked a little bit about beer. Talk to us about some of the food that you offer there.
We serve what I call basic bar comfort food.
Sure.
We do the hand-pattied burgers, fries. We have a Friday fish fry, things like that.
Yeah, okay, all right. And, when we're talking about the craft beers and whatnot, is that something that you have seen a growth in, these sort of microbreweries and craft beers? Has that been growing over the past few years?
It really has. It's... In the years since we've been open, for example, when we opened in 2008, there were about 63 microbreweries in the state of Wisconsin, and now there's over 100.
Wow!
So it has been great growth.
Why do you think that's growing? Why do you think that's a growing industry?
I think people are finding that beer, similar to wine, has a lot of different flavors, and they're just finally getting it and wanting to try it.
Yeah, they're just getting to the point where they realize that there's as many different diverse flavors in beer as there is wine, in other words.
Correct.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Dan Calise, from the CEO of Eddie's Ale House and Eatery, thank you so much for joining us today. It was a pleasure talking with you.
Thank you.
Don't go away. When we come back, my interview with country star Rick Monroe. It's Talk of the Town here on CW57. Welcome back to Talk of the Town. Singer-songwriter Rick Monroe is a strong ambassador for country music and whose work has taken him all over the world. He was one of the first country artists to sing in China and Russia, and he'll be performing this year at Bratfest on Saturday, May 23rd. He joins us on the line from Nashville, Tennessee right now. Rick, welcome to our program.
Hey, how you doing?
Great, good to have you here today. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
I want to start out by asking you, musicians often talk about their influences, different musicians that have had a strong impact on their musical style. Is there any one artist that you can look at and say, when you listen to them, you remember making a decision that this is what I want to do with the rest of my life?
That's such a hard question. Because I have so many influences in my life. My mom was a big Jim Croce fan, but my brother turned me on to Garth Brooks and AC/DC at the same time. So I kind of have a pretty mixed, bag of what I listen to and what's influenced me.
Yeah, and it's not just country artists then, it's people from all different kinds of genres.
No, I listen to all kinds of stuff, and I keep getting influenced as time goes on, like bands like Hailstorm or some of these newer bands. I just keep changing and growing. I love Bruno Mars, and I also love, stuff that Tyler Farr is doing. I love, it's always changing.
Yes, and when I listen to your music, I can hear some of those artists that you mentioned have influenced you in some ways. And I'm wondering, you do quite a lot of headlining yourself, but you also have opened for a number of pretty big names like Dierks Bentley, Charlie Daniels, and Dwight Yoakam. I mean, what's it like for you to open up for guys like that?
I've been really fortunate because for the last 6 or 7 years I've been sponsored by Jägermeister, and we've gone out and done these Jägermeister country tours. And I'm going to do the name dropping now. I've gotten to go out with Pat Green, Randy Houser, then it was Josh Thompson and Eric Church, and then it was Josh Thompson and Dierks Bentley, then it was Randy Houser, and then it was Aaron Lewis, who will be at Bratfest as well, and then it was, and then last year it was Eli Young, and we've got another one coming up. So it's always amazing. I've been very fortunate. Everyone I've toured with has been pretty much like family by the end of it. Always good people. Good people just seem to really rise to the top, and I've been fortunate to have that opportunity to work with them.
Awesome. I'm wondering if you could tell us a little bit more about the Jaeger tours.
Well, basically, Jaeger's always been really good with music and before they were doing mostly metal and hard rock stuff. And I kind of talked to the guys and convinced them that country was a really good market for them to get into. And about 7 years ago, they just went ahead and went for it. And it's been a really good program, and it's always fun. They've been a great sponsor. They really helped me a great deal, and Jägermeister's a good time. What can you say?
Absolutely. One of the songs that I love of yours that has really touched me personally is your song "Small Town." And I did a little bit of research and found that there's kind of a neat story behind how that song started, in that you were working on another song and felt like you were a little stuck and started playing something different just as an ear break. And thus, this new song, "Small Town," was born.
Yeah.
Is that a pretty typical way for how a lot of your music is born, is kind of by accident almost?
I would say, well, it all depends. It's always different. That song in particular, I was working with Kenneth Duncan and I were writing, and we were kind of hammering on this idea that we're really excited about, but we couldn't get over kind of the hump on it. And he said, "Here, let me just play this," and it was the beginning of "Small Town," and I went, "That's what we need to be working on. Forget this other thing." So, but that was that occasion. Some days I wake up in the morning and just have a riff idea, or I'll see something like the next single we're putting out is "Great Minds Drink Alike," and that was literally from something I saw like on a sign. I thought that's a funny saying and it should be a song.
Absolutely, and it's a great song. Talk to us a little bit about some of your other recent singles that you've had.
Well, we just finished with "Fire's Out," which got us into the top 40 or top 50, I guess, on Billboard, which was pretty amazing. We've just been really fortunate with that one. I kind of knew I was pushing the envelope a little bit with it, because when we first wrote it, I kind of wanted to see what it would be to do like a Bruno Mars does country kind of a vibe, something a little bit more funky. And I know that a lot of the country now is kind of splitting into kind of the hip hop or bro stuff or traditional, and so I thought I would throw my own little mix in there.
Awesome, awesome. And we just have a few seconds left, but I'm wondering if you could tell us a little bit about your private performance that you gave for Mikhail Gorbachev.
Well, Mikhail's a wonderful guy, actually, which is pretty interesting, very intimidating. But I was on the USS Sequoia, which used to be the presidential yacht, and we were going up and down the Potomac, and it was about 30 major donors for the Frank Foundation, which is an orphanage. and adoption agency. And basically, we just went up and down drinking his own blend of vodka, and had a really cool time, sang Russian folk songs. And then he ended up inviting me to tour Moscow, or actually Russia, for about a month to raise money for him. And so we raised money for the Frank Foundation and for orphanages. It was amazing. It was really a once-in-a-lifetime experience.
Awesome. Rick Monroe will be performing this year at Bratfest on Saturday, May 23rd at 7 p.m. Go in and check him out. Rick, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much for having me.
And we'll be right back with more Talk of the Town. Welcome back to Talk of the Town. My next guest is Ricardo Paoli from Rick's Old Gold on Willie Street here in Madison. Welcome, Ricardo.
That'd be me.
Yes, that's you. So we're going to be talking a little bit about recycling jewelry today, and I'm wondering if you can talk to us a little bit about what are the advantages of buying recycled jewelry?
Well, what you really want to do when you're buying jewelry, you really want to try to get the most for your money, just like anything else.
Right.
What you can do at a secondary market store, at basically a coin shop or even a pawn shop if you have to.
Right.
But you can buy a diamond ring and actually pay the value of the diamond ring, minus the overhead and the warranties and the maintenance programs. And it kind of ends up where typically a $5,000 ring, the actual at the mall or at the jewelry store, without the overhead, is generally $2,500 to $2,000 maybe.
Yeah.
That's a big difference.
Yeah, it is a big difference, huge difference. So now, how do I pick a store where I'm going to feel comfortable, I guess, coming in and it doesn't feel like I'm in a pawn shop?
Well, you should actually just pick the most handsome, charming guy that's very clever that you could
this
actually.
guy right here.
Someone that you could actually trust that's been around for 25 years. Or you can look on Facebook, in all honesty, and look at social networking, look for comments online.
Sure.
And it's a telltale sign. If you've been around for 25 years and all your comments are positive, people are in tune, and you know the people are paying attention, and you know you're going to a store where you're going to be treated fairly.
Yeah. And I imagine going to some of the more objective websites that, like, Yelp and Google and Yahoo reviews and those types of things probably give you a very objective perspective on what type of experience someone might get by going into your store versus if it was just posted on your website, for example.
Well, exactly. And there's many websites that do ratings.
Sure.
And see, the people that run the stores, Rick's Old Gold, all the small independents, they don't really have any say
Right.
of what's going on there.
Exactly.
So it's pretty much going to be objective.
Yep.
You do get your one kind of, somebody that sits at home that likes to play around on Facebook. You're going to get one of those now and then.
Right.
But usually they've done it on other sites also.
Right.
And you can pinpoint a person that's just going around and basically ripping on the entire industry.
Sure.
But other than that little segment of that 1% or 2%, the comments are fair and balanced.
Yeah.
It's good people that went to your store.
Yep, absolutely. And once you've done it for a while, you start kind of accumulating a really accurate profile of, who's...
If you're a fine store like mine, yes, you do.
Yeah, there you go. So, people are sometimes concerned about the style of the jewelry, the trends and whatnot. Are there newer styles that are available in some of these recycled jewelry shops?
Well,
like yours?
No, that's a little sensitive question, but in honesty, it takes a couple years for new styles, the Tacori and all the other halo style diamonds. I mean, we're just kind of getting them in the last couple years, and they've been out for 5.
Sure.
We don't, about 10 or 15 years ago when white gold became popular again,
Right.
It took a few years for us to get it, but
Yeah.
Once it starts rolling in, when the style's been established, we do get them. You can find, Hearts on Fire,
Sure.
Halo style rings, some of the new designer stuff, Monroe, Lisa Jenks, Tacori. We do have Tiffany and Cartier, of course.
Yeah.
And they come in, but not immediately when they hit the market, but within a reasonable year or two.
Sure.
And most of them are trade-ins, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're, everybody thinks it's divorce ring city. No, most of them are trade-ins. People trade up.
Sure. Sure. That's very cool.
But one thing that's key if you're shopping in the secondary market, if you want a true deal, you got to kind of relax on your criteria a little bit to
Right.
buy the best deal. I mean, this is important. If you insist, I mean, being a bride or a groom, or you can insist on anything you want, of course, if you insist.
Yeah.
But if you can lower your standards, like instead of 15 diamonds around the edges, if you find something that's 12 diamonds,
Right.
buy it. If you want a carat 20 engagement princess cut ring, if you find a carat 15 or a carat 10,
Sure.
that's a good deal, buy it.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about lowering major standards, just
Right.
be a little easy, kind of roll a little bit.
Sure.
And you're going to get a good deal, and you're never going to lose money on that ring.
Absolutely. Roll with the punches and head down
Yes.
to Rick's Old Gold to find a great deal. Right?
And you really are never, exactly, you're never going to lose money. Even, I hate to kind of go here, but even not, you don't just have to go to Rick's. There's two other good coin shops on University Avenue and Monona Drive.
Sure.
They do the same, they're not as good as Rick's Old Gold, of course, but they do the same kind of stuff.
Ricardo Paoli, thank you so much for joining us. We're out of time today.
We're out of time.
We are out of time.
Gee, Justin, I was just kind of getting,
We're just getting
kinda
warmed up
rolling.
here. I know it. Well, head on down to Rick's Old Gold or check out any, but preferably Rick's Old Gold and find a good deal. We'll be right back with more Talk of the Town. We'll be finding out about some fitness tips for kids. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Talk of the Town. My next guest is Cindy Jors from the Little Gym of Middleton and Fitchburg. Cindy, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
And you're going to be talking to us a little bit about physical fitness for kids and how you can help parents achieve that and at the Little Gym. So talk to us a little bit about what sets the Little Gym apart from other kids' activities that you can do.
Sure, I would love to. What I really like about the Little Gym curriculum is that it is exclusively developed for the Little Gym. We are a franchise, so our curriculum is based on research and is provided to children according to their developmental stages. And then we also have a three-dimension aspect to our curriculum. There's the physical part, the get moving, the gymnastics, that's the obvious part, but then also Brain Boost, which is giving our brain a workout and not just our body and what we're doing and why we're doing it. And then there's a citizen kid aspect, and that is something that we like the kids to learn things within the gym that they can take outside of the gym and apply as well, using manners, taking turns, working in a group, listening to teachers, so forth like that.
Very cool, very comprehensive.
Yes, it is, and that's what I love about it.
Awesome, awesome. So you talked a little bit about, you mentioned gymnastics. Can you
Yes.
talk to us about some of the programs that you offer over at the Little Gym?
Sure. We start classes with children ages 4 months old, so infants, all the way up through 12 years of age, so our grade school program. And we offer, obviously, the gymnastics programs at the Little Gym, but we also have dance, karate, and sports skills. And then on the weekends, we have birthday parties and parent survival nights. So we're open 7 days a week, so lots of things to offer for children.
You mentioned that you were a franchise.
Yes.
I guess, can you talk to us about how long you've been around, but then
Sure.
also how long the Little Gym in general has been around?
Yes. It was founded in 1976 in Bellevue, Washington, and we personally have had our Middleton facility for almost 11 years and our Fitchburg for almost 7 years. So I've seen lots of children come through our gyms. Internationally, there are over 300 gyms, so really expanding a lot right now in Australia, India, China. So really exciting time.
It is a very exciting time.
It is, yeah.
Good time to be part of the Little Gym.
Exactly.
So you mentioned ages up through age 12 that they
Correct.
can.
Yeah.
When do they start again?
Infants 4 months old.
Wow.
And a lot of parents think, well, what do they do? But really, a child's brain is growing the most from 0 to 3 years of age. So while they might not be physically moving yet, their brains are really active and they need that stimulation that our environment would provide.
Absolutely. And why would a parent? What are some of the other reasons why a parent might bring their kid to the Little Gym?
You know, I think in our environment, we like to see an active lifestyle. And if you start that at a young age, I think that is just a really great way to let kids know that while a parent is bringing them, that they can be active and in an environment that is not competitive and really boosts that self-confidence.
And are there enrollment periods, or can a kid join at any time throughout the year?
Right. We do have enrollment periods, but we have open enrollment as well. So if there is room in a class, a child can join at any point during the year. And we're open 12 months out of the year.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I'm just curious, what got you involved with this business? You've been doing it for 11 years now.
Yes.
What got you involved?
My husband and I have both always been very active, and he was a swim coach for a very long time, and we both knew that we wanted to run our own business. And so when we heard about the Little Gym franchise, we went and checked it out. At that time, our youngest daughter was 1.5 years old, and as a mom, I had done a lot of programming, a lot of different programs with my older 2 boys. And when I saw the Little Gym, I just thought, wow, this is so awesome that there's a class that is for just that child at that time, and but they can go and explore and really grow according to what their level of activity is.
Yeah, and I'm just kind of thinking about some of the different programs that you mentioned, some of the different activities that you do. I'm really kind of curious to learn about this citizenship aspect where you talked about teaching manners and respect and things like that. Can you talk about some of the things that you do there to sort of instill that in the kids?
Right. Well, every week we have a different theme at the Little Gym, so that is something that we focus on as, each week, but also then just the component week to week of getting to know who is in their class, getting to work with a teacher every week, but also we have a ratio of 6 to 1 for our older classes, so they will work with 3 different teachers, so they get comfortable working with different adults. And then also just like I said, working in a group and understanding that while they are in a group, they can still grow individually, but they needs to still take turns and be part of that active group.
Cindy Jors from the Little Gym of Middleton and Fitchburg, thank you so much for joining us
It was
today.
my pleasure.
And that's all the time we have for Talk of the Town. We'll see you next time.